Welcome back to the Boneyard Podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Shafit, along with my good friend, Artemis Brower. Artie, how we doing, my friend?
Oh, man. Whew. I have butterflies in my stomach. I just got off work. It's my last day of work until next Tuesday. As an adult, you don't know how good it feels to have a 4-day weekend upon you. And this 4-day weekend is real special because obviously your boy is about to make a 9-hour trip up to Detroit first, and then to Ann Arbor, Michigan on Saturday for what will be the biggest game in ECU history. So I am uber excited.
Yeah, I mean, Artie, I'm excited for this game. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but it is something that, I mean, it's football season.
It's back, baby.
We're back. We had the first week of games, week 0. Still don't know how I feel about calling it week 0. I mean, I get not everybody's playing, but I digress. I mean, Artie, ECU football is back. So really excited about it. All in all, how are we feeling going? I mean, you're driving up. What's it, a 9-hour drive, driving up to Michigan tomorrow?
Yeah, getting a rental car. We wanted to get it sooner, but unfortunately we can only get it at 8 o'clock. So getting it right at 8, gonna hit the road right afterwards, try to be on the road by 8:30. 9 hours to get up to Detroit because that's where we're staying for the weekend is in Detroit, and then we're just gonna drive to Ann Arbor on Saturday. But we're excited. Ashley's excited. She's actually out right now as we speak, trying to get outfits. You know how women are, trying to get a weekend outfit for the game. So that's exciting. But yeah, getting up there tomorrow. I don't know what we're gonna do tomorrow night. Because depending on what time we get in, I know we'll definitely probably go out to Detroit, get some dinner, see what Detroit has to offer. I know they got a casino downtown, so we might hit that up, Motor City Casino downtown. So that might be a move. And then Saturday's the big day. I told Ashley she's gonna have to be ready to get up early because I'm trying to enjoy some of these festivities. I'm trying to enjoy some of this tailgating. I'm trying to get it all. I want to be in the building, in the stadium. We do CP time. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it ain't gonna be no CP time on Saturday. I'm trying to get into the building an hour before kickoff so I can see everything. I want to witness and be in everything.
Yeah, Artie, I if I were you, I would be there as early as possible. I mean,
like 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. That's what
you got to get up. You just got to get it done.
Yeah, we're gonna get it done. So Ashley can drag if she wants to. I'll be up ready to go. My pure excitement's just gonna be out the roof. So we'll get it done.
Y'all got a tailgate spot? What you doing? Any plans?
Honestly,
just gonna see what's happening.
Just gonna see what's happening. Get up there, see what's happening. Parking's definitely. I'm trying to figure out parking first, where we can park, and hopefully we're not paying an arm and a leg for parking up there. And then I guess just walking around, see what's going on.
I didn't even think about that. I mean, if you don't have a parking spot, if you're driving up there and then
right,
you're in Detroit, which is 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been paying attention to the Twitter, the X machine, whatever you want to call it nowadays. A lot of people are going. Apparently, lots of people are on flights with purple and gold chants from Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro, where have you, chanting purple and gold. I love to hear it.
Jay, let me ask you this: how many people do you think from Pirate Nation are going to make the trip? If you had to give me a number, what is the number looking like in the big house for Pirate Nation?
Just an uninformed guess, I guess I would say. I would say probably. I don't want to shoot too high. I'm gonna say 7K.
You think we'll have 7,000 fans?
I think there's a lot of people that have had this game circled on the calendar for many years.
That is, because we were talking about this when we started the podcast. So yeah, that's definitely true. 7K is a big. I was thinking 3 to 5K. And
I may be overestimating, but just by it's one of those things where already we live in this bubble, right? Yeah. Doing this podcast, you and I live in this bubble. I see what other people that are major ECU fans say and are talking about online and on social media. And one of those things is, a lot of people are going. I know a lot of people going. And they're making that drive. They're flying.
Right.
I mean, all in all, there's a lot of people that are going to be there. Look, it's the maze out. It's the maze out for Michigan this week, so it's going to look. You're gonna have a bunch of gold there, and then you're also going to have a bunch of purple as well. So, yeah, man, I have serious FOMO right now. Like, I really hate that I'm not going to be there, but
brother,
I'm a family.
I was looking forward to taking this trip with you, man. I really was. When we were talking about this years ago, I was excited to be taking this trip with you. But I understand, family comes first, brother.
I'm a family man now, Artie.
Yeah,
I'm a family man. But yeah, we'll make it to another away game this year. I got App State in a couple of weeks on my calendar. But Artie, episode 160.
Yes.
160. Do you have a number 60 for me?
Jared, don't hit me. And I know we're live right now.
We're live. You don't have. This is the first live episode of the Boneyard Podcast, and you don't have one.
Oh, 60. Look, people, listen to me. We're recording this at 7:30 or 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. I got off of work at 7:15. Okay, I had a call that went over its allotted time. I was already supposed to be off at 7, but this person just wanted to keep me on the line. All right, so that kind of dug into my prep a little bit. I don't have a 60. I'm sorry. My condolences. Jay, just have to give us 2. Let's give us 2.
2?
Yeah.
It was hard enough for me to come up with 1, Artie. I'm gonna go.
60's hard.
60's hard. Like, what am I gonna do? Go with an offensive lineman? I mean, I guess I could, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna go former Cy Young Award winner, World Series champ, 2-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover, Dallas Keuchel, pitched in 2019 for the Bravos. Most of his career spent, I believe, in Houston. Yeah, 2013 to 2018, or 2012 to 2018. Had a stint after he was with the Braves, with your White Sox. Then went to the Diamondbacks, Texas Rangers, and then finished his career, or is finishing his career right now with the Minnesota Twins. I don't know. Maybe he's got a couple more years in him, but I really don't see much. I mean, he hasn't really done much in the last couple of years. Really, like 2017, I believe that was the year he won the Cy Young, and that was really like his year. Maybe it was the 2015 year. I don't know. It was when he was with Houston, really kind of coming into who he was as a frontline starter in Major League Baseball. And yeah, I mean, Dallas Keuchel is mine. So, Artie, got to say real quick, the Boneyard Podcast, proud to be members of the Variety Sports Podcast Network. If you're watching on Twitter, YouTube, wherever, go follow, go subscribe to the Variety Sports Network. Lots of great content. I actually missed. I had to miss our fantasy draft the other night, so I haven't even looked at my team. I've been so busy. That's what happens when you work in marketing, Artie. When you work in marketing, the last few days of the month are always the busiest. And yeah, unfortunately didn't get to draft. But hey, I can still win a win a fantasy football league with the
auto draft. You got to let us know how the auto draft went.
I'll have to look at it. I honestly looked at it. I don't even have the login because it's not on ESPN. We're not on ESPN.
You're gonna finish dead last just for that. You haven't even looked at your lineup yet. You're gonna finish dead last.
Probably right. But honestly, Artie, it doesn't matter. Go check out Variety Sports Network, Variety Sports Collegiate. There's a lot of great content out there. They got the Saturday football show that's coming out, doing a lot of great content there. So yeah, check it out. Artie, real quick about fantasy football. Our fantasy draft is next week. Have we ever decided on a punishment in our fantasy football league?
I don't think we have. I think the punishments are either like way too soft or they're just way too like dumb. Like the one that we had where you're paintballing somebody with
that would have been funny.
Just a tank top on. No, I'd kill one of y'all. If y'all think for 1 second I'm gonna let you shoot straight paintballs at my bare body, I'm killing you.
Why
No,
not?
No, that's not what I do. No, sorry. I'm not signing up for that one. I don't care.
Artie, you should. You should.
Jared, that's something that high school and college kids do. I'm pushing 30. I'm too old to be doing stuff. I'm not doing that.
I love how I was like the oldest guy in our group that recommended it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, Artie, I'm a fan of. We've talked about the Waffle House challenge. I mean, it's
explain that to me again. What is the Waffle House? Is that we're just eating a bunch of waffles?
So you go to Waffle House. You go to Waffle House, and you're there for 24 hours. You have to sit in Waffle House for 24 hours, and then, so the way you get out earlier is you eat a waffle. So if every waffle you eat, Artie, you get an hour taken off your sentence.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not too bad. I'm crushing at least 15.
You're crushing 15 waffles, so you're there for 9 hours.
Yeah, I'm crushing at least 15 waffles. Their waffles are like thin too, but you also have to understand that's a lot of breading. You got to have syrup with it. You got to have water with it. You're going to get full. You're going to get full rather quickly.
Give me like 5 waffles in the first hour. Then I'm going to take a break. Okay. I'm going to do another 5 waffles. I'm going to take like an hour break.
Right. Let it kind of sit a little bit. Digest. That's smart. Knock out another
chug some water. Maybe visit the facilities. And then yeah, I mean, I like that one. I think the one that I suggested, and honestly, I know nobody was going to go for it, where instead of the winner winning money, what they do is the money that is in the pot in the pool, the winner can take that money and they buy the loser a plane ticket.
No, that's hell no. No.
And they have to
even if I could send the loser to Siberia, I want that money. I'm not doing that. I want that money.
Artie, you don't have to worry about it. You're not going to win anyways.
I won 2 years ago. Stop playing with
me. You won on like some bullshit too.
Oh yeah, okay. If you want to call 16 weeks a technicality, okay.
I mean, Artie, like,
okay.
I think was that the year that it was you and I in the championship game.
I think that was. I think we were.
I think you beat me by like a point. I was so mad.
Yeah. Well, I finessed my way into the championship game because AC had he had Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp literally needed one more reception to beat me. One, with half a quarter left, and they took him out the game.
It's like I beat you in the regular season. Maybe it was you. I don't know. Beat you in the regular season because my defense got a fumble recovery like with 30 seconds left. And that was a good feeling. But yeah, to lose by like a point or two in the championship was not a very fun time. All right, Artie, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right. First things first, we've got some Pirates signing some contracts in the NFL. 3 guys signed on the practice squad for their respective teams. All of them undrafted. Nobody drafted from ECU this year. First things first, Holden Ahlers signs with the Seahawks. Yeah. I thought, I mean, I didn't think that he was going to pass Drew Lock, but I thought, like, there for a little bit, I thought there may be a chance that he could pass Drew Lock. Like, well, there's the slightest bit of inside of me that I was like, he couldn't mess around and make this team.
I only saw one preseason game where Holden played, and I got to see pretty much a whole quarter of him play. He looked good when he was out there, right? Like he was moving around. He looked more mobile than he ever did at ECU. He was out there running a rock with precision up there in Seattle. I forget who they were playing in that preseason game that I saw. It was last week I was watching, but I was like, okay, he's definitely making a case to at least make this roster. He is not out there fumbling. He looks competent. He looks like someone where the stage isn't too big for him. He looks like someone who played college football for 5 years, and he looked like he could step in and at least be a backup. in the NFL. So it doesn't shock me at all. And I agree with you. I do think there was an opportunity for him to surpass Drew Lock. Obviously, he might need a little bit more experience and kind of under his belt to get that. But at least being signed to the practice squad is some progress. The man didn't get cut. So.
Yep. And then Ryan Jones also signs a practice squad deal with the New York Giants. To be honest, didn't see much out of him, but hey, they had to have seen something. And we all know what Ryan Jones can do. I mean, former linebacker from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And then transition into a tight end at ECU. And I mean, we all know the kind of freak athlete that he is. He's got a big body too. He may not be as tall as some of the top end tight ends in the NFL, but he's gonna. I could see him getting onto a team if somebody gets hurt later on in the season. I think that would be any team that had him is going to be very happy. And then, of course, shout out our guy, friend of the podcast, Isaiah Winstead.
Yes.
Isaiah Winstead, friend of the podcast. Just thinking of it, I mean, we had him on. Man, we had him on a while ago, I guess. Right when he committed or transferred in, had him on. And I know Brandon Avery, friend of the podcast, longtime friend of the podcast, has been calling him Isaiah Hempstead. And
it's time he gets his due, man. He's so underrated as so underrated.
How he went. What was it he was listed as? He was an all-conference honorable mention.
That's bullshit. I don't know. You know what the hell that means? An honorable mention? Stop that.
I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you give it to him. Like, give that to him. To me, he was one of the best wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver in the conference last year. I mean, just all around insane talent, insane length, speed. He had it all.
I mean, and he was going to get his. It didn't matter who you lined up against him. Isaiah Winstead was going to go out there and get his. Period. So
he's gonna get another shot. I think all of these guys have a shot to eventually crack the 53-man roster. I really do. I think. I don't think that they're going to be sitting on the sidelines for long. I think if somebody goes down, they're going to be one of the first one or two guys that they probably bring up from the practice squad because these guys are talented. And the one we haven't talked about, Artie, our dude, Deuce. Chuck up the Deuce.
He's the one with the most upside.
Keaton Mitchell makes the 53-man roster with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, pretty much cost Melvin Gordon his job. Maybe ended Melvin Gordon's career. I don't know. But he has that insane speed. He's a freak athlete when it comes to his speed and his elusiveness. And I mean, imagine a backfield with him and Lamar Jackson.
Insane.
It would not surprise me if the Baltimore Ravens fucked around and won the Super Bowl. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
And the reason why I say he has the most upside is because the Ravens do have a tendency to get hurt, right? So a Gus Edwards, a J.K. Dobbins, either one of those guys could get significant. I'm not hoping that this happens, God forbid, because they're both phenomenal running backs. But it can happen, and it's happened before. And his number could get called. And when his number gets called, I could see him being one of those guys that's not going to relinquish the opportunity that he gets. So that's why I say Keaton Mitchell definitely has the most upside.
Yeah, I mean, Keaton Mitchell's gonna ball out, and he's gonna get his. Another guy already that made the 53-man roster, Jaquan McMillan.
Yeah,
Island, Winston-Salem boy. He really came on late last year for the Broncos, and I think he got more and more playing time this training camp and this preseason, and I think that he's going to end up he's going to mess around and he's going to become a starter for the Broncos. And there's going to be a lot of teams looking at him after he really shows out this year saying, hey, we missed on one in the draft 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Jaquan McMillan's that dude.
And sometimes you just need time to grow into a pro. I mean, the intangibles and the skill was there. I just think he just needed some time to grow into a pro. He's probably still growing into a pro, right? But, the skill set, the intangibles, the NFL body, that's all there, right? That's all there for the taking. So it was just time. He just had to have that time to kind of grow into and mature into a pro.
Yeah, for sure. But Artie, those guys are no longer with the team. Did we see actually? Did Blake Prohl make the team?
Man, I'm being a bad power right now because I have no idea. I couldn't tell.
I haven't seen anything on him.
I haven't heard anything about Blake Prohl.
Oh no, we'll have to do some research. If anything, he may have. Nope, Blake Prohl cut by the Vikings.
Mm.
And I don't see anything about signing a practice squad deal. Blake has a pretty lucrative singing career going on. I don't know if you.
Now that I have to addition to. I do know he's out here.
He's out there putting girls in their feels.
Yeah, he's serenading.
I mean, I don't know. He's got those vocals. He's got those golden vocals, and I mean, I didn't know he had that. Looking at him, I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
But hey, what do I know? Not much, I guess. All right, Artie. ECU football is back.
Yes.
How excited are you for this football season? Hey, 2 back-to-back winning seasons. Going into Mike Houston's 5th year. How excited are you that ECU football is back?
I'm ecstatic. I'm absolutely ecstatic. I'm just happy that football is back. I'm happy to be covering ECU football again. I'm happy to go into these games. Now there is some caution to it, right? I mean, with all the roster turnover, with all the uncertainty that we have going on with this team going into this year, I do think there needs to be some cause for pause and maybe lower the expectations. And when we say lower the expectation, I mean obviously it's not like we were winning 10 or 11 football games, but to go 8-5 the way we did last year and win a bowl game, I'm not too sure if this team has that in them. They do have it in them. I'm just not sure if it's going to happen, right? So I don't want people out there saying, well, this ECU team is going to win 9, 10, 11 football games. I think you got to hamper expectations just a little bit, just because we're going to see early on. I really think in these first 3 games, we're going to see what kind of football team we really have. This is a crucial and pivotal year for Mike Houston, but I do think he gets a bit of a mulligan just because of all the turnover and everything, all the uncertainty that's going on in this 5th year that he's entering into. But I'm more excited for these first 3 games, because you're really going to see what this particular brand of ECU football is made of, what this roster is made of out the gate.
Now, let me ask you, Artie, would you say that this ECU roster, as it sits now, going into week 1, would you say that this is the most, because this is kind of my feeling, this is the most talented team that Mike Houston has had and that ECU has probably had in a very long time, if ever? They just aren't as experienced as some of those teams from the last 2 years.
Right. And
would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree. I would agree that this is, if not the most talented, a top 3, top 2 most talented team that he's had here at his tenure at ECU. But that experience is important, and this is a team that really, really lacks experience. But that's why they're going to get it. I mean, they're going to get an ultra concentrated, version of that experience. They're going to grow up real quick in those first 3 games. That's why I say the non-conference is so crucial to this season, because they're going to grow up quick, right? They're going to get it right off the rip. And so that's why I'm excited, because you do have all this talent. And then they're not kind of easing, they're not backdooring their way into the season, not easing their way into the season. It's just, okay, right off the rip, we're getting into it. We're getting into some stiff competition. Teams that are expected to either, obviously one is ranked number 2 and, going to go on and do whatever they do. And then the other 2 are really good in their own right. You got a Marshall and App State that are expected to be really good in their conferences and go on to win bowl games. So that's why I'm excited, because I agree that, yes, this is the most talented team that we have. but I also feel like they're going to gain that experience within the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season. They're going to be ready to go. But I do also think that the expectations for this season do need to be hampered down just a little bit because we don't know. It's a lot of uncertainty.
Now, does it scare you, or do you think it's gamesmanship that Coach Houston, Coach Kirkpatrick, Donnie K have decided not to name a starter and said you'll see who it is at 12:01 Saturday?
Plenty of coaches have done this, but they're not running for office. And I like Coach Houston is not running for political office. I don't need nor do I want a political answer. I want you to tell me who it is. I mean, at this point, come on, man. Mason's been sitting here for how many years and sitting behind Holt, and we're all expecting for Mason to be the guy, and for you to not come out and say, okay, yes, Mason, he's shown progress. He's the clear-cut one. Yes, we like what Flynn is doing. Flynn has pushed him really hard, but Flynn is going to be our backup. Mason's our one. That's what I wanted to hear. When you don't come out and confidently tell me that Mason's our one, why? Why?
I'm leaning more on the side of its gamesmanship, and that's exactly what it is hey,
and that's great too. But again, we're not running for office.
And I get it. I get it. I think it's Mason, but the fact that they said that it could be, they have 3 quarterbacks that they could be, I was like, I don't really like that comment, but
that's a stretch. It's never at this point. Game 1 is right around the corner.
Could you imagine throwing freshman Raheem Jeter into the mix? All right, kid, it's your time to shine. Welcome to the big house.
Welcome to Ann Arbor, Michigan. No. This close to the season starting, there's never 3 that they're thinking about. At the most, it's just 2.
Yeah, I think Jeter will eventually probably redshirt by the end of the year, unless there's something terrible that happens, like one of the guys gets an injury early in the season. I think Jeter, I think he'll end up redshirting after this year or sometime during this year. So, Artie, let's talk ECU predictions. Okay. We've talked long and hard over the last 12 weeks or so about all the teams that we're going to face. The over-under is set at 5.5. I still don't believe in that. I don't agree with that at all. I do think that there's more than 5 wins in there. What's your gut telling you?
As far as win totals?
As far as win totals, and I mean, if you want to, we can run through the schedule again, but
my gut is telling me 6. And my gut is telling me right at 6. Yeah. I see 6 wins on this schedule. I see 6 losses on this schedule.
I think with this schedule, I mean, you got to remember, this is the toughest schedule in the American Athletic Conference.
Yeah.
ECU is playing the toughest schedule in the conference. And with that being said, I still think that there's at least 6 wins. I still, my hot take all season, all summer, Artie, has been that ECU knocks off 2 of the 3 SMU, UTSA, or Tulane. I think they win 2 of those games. Hey, they may lose. They may start the season 1-2, but I think they win 2 of those games. You get Tulane at home. I'm not really sure how I feel about Tulane. Was it last year just a off the wall season? Are they for real? I mean, I like to believe that they're for real, but are they really real? Right. SMU, I'm not as high on them as some other people are. So I still believe that there's 2 wins there's 2 potential wins in those 3 games. Like, I would not be surprised if ECU won 2 of those games. My gut would tell me it would be SMU and Tulane, just because you're at home for those games. You don't have to go on the road like you do to UTSA and play in the Alamo Dome. I'm going to say 7 wins.
Okay.
I think 7 wins. I think there's enough. You've got some tough games in there. You've got a lot of tough games in there. But I think with Coach Houston's mentality, you got a bunch of guys that, while they don't have playing experience, they have experience in the program. They know the mentality. They know what it's like to be a Pirate. And with that being said, I think for them, they're gonna say, okay, hey, we know what we're doing. We've played under these guys that built this program back up.
Yeah.
I that's kind of where I'm leaning is, okay, yes, the playing experience isn't there, but these guys have been in the program. They know the playbook. They know the schemes. They know all that. They just got to go out there and execute. And if they do that, this could be a very magical season. Because nobody believes in them. Not one soul outside of Greenville or Pirate Nation.
Well, that's all it always is.
Believes in East Carolina University.
Yeah,
we talked about last week. What did App State lose? 28 guys?
Graduated 28 people.
And then they lost 14 to the transfer portal?
Yep.
I mean, you lose 42 guys off your 80-man roster, and they're still predicting them or putting them at like 7 wins? I don't know. People, for whatever reason, people don't believe in ECU. When ECU has shown them time and time again, granted, different iterations of this ECU team has shown time and time again, don't sleep on us. And do I think that they're going to make noise and play for a conference championship this year? No, I don't. But I do think that they may play spoiler to some programs that are trying to get to that conference championship. But Artie, so you say 6-6?
I say 6-6. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say 7-5. I'm just gonna say 7-5.
Just because I do expect, and I hope they don't, but I just see ECU doing ECU things, and I just feel like they're gonna drop one that they shouldn't drop. They're gonna drop one maybe to a Tulsa or to a Navy. Like they're gonna drop one that they should not drop.
Yeah, I mean that Navy win or that Navy game is almost always scheduled in or penciled in as an L for me. Hate playing them. But Artie, let's do what we're here to do. We're here to break down ECU versus Michigan.
Facts.
We're here to break down ECU versus Michigan. This is the first podcast of a new season. ECU has a tall task. They got to go on the road and play the number 2 team in the country. A team that finished, I believe, top 5 in offense last year and top 10 in defense or vice versa. Let's break it down. We got Michael Smeltzer, founder and senior content creator for the Wolverine Chronicle, coming on the Boneyard Podcast. Michael, welcome to the Boneyard Podcast. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I am doing great. I'm ready for some football. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
I'm so ready for Saturday. My wife texted me this morning. She said, hey, I know Saturday you're watching the game. Like, she's off work for the first Saturday in what seems like forever. And she goes, I know you're watching the game, but like, should I invite my friends over? And I was like, no, don't invite them over. This is an ECU only house on Saturday. So,
well, and here's the thing about that. Sorry to interrupt, Jared. I'm just going to jump right in on that because, inviting the friends over, that sounds nice. Maybe have some hors d'oeuvres passed around and whatnot. This is college football season. I've been counting down the days until I get to see my team play. Don't make me have superficial conversations with random people during the football game. I'm trying to focus here,
I told her, I was like, look, so-and-so's coming over. Her husband's a Tennessee fan. Tennessee plays at the same time. I'm not going to be turning off ECU Michigan to watch Tennessee Virginia play. Like, I'm just not. Like, I don't care about that game. So she was like, yeah, that's probably they're going to want to watch Tennessee. They're not going to want to come here anyways. So everything worked out. I was like, okay, everybody's going to be happy. The guys are going to watch college football. The women are going to sit there and hang out with us. And we're going to just enjoy our day. We're just going to enjoy our day. I walked outside today and I was like, man, it's starting, like it almost felt like fall this morning. I don't know, Artie, if you felt the same way.
It was gorgeous outside today. A nice crisp breeze. It felt fresh in the air. It's like, oh yeah, football's back.
It just smelled different, felt different, tasted different. Michael, I'm sure in Ann Arbor and around Michigan, y'all are chomping at the bit to get back into it after what happened last season in the college football playoff. Won't talk much about it, but talk to us a little bit about like the expectations and how the fan base feels going into the 2023 season.
Yeah, Jared, we try not to talk about the college football playoff. That's like off limits. And it's a new year. We've got a lot of guys coming back. The expectations for this team are as high as we have really ever seen them. I mean, we're talking about since 1997 when we split the national championship with Nebraska. That was probably, and even that season, we didn't come in with those expectations. And so we're returning a lot of talent. There's a lot of nervous energy among Michigan faithful because high expectations, it just comes with a lot that can go wrong. You got a team like East Carolina, 8-5 last year, won a bowl game, hungry to upset a giant like Michigan. And we know that, and we respect East Carolina. I'm one of these people that doesn't necessarily think that we can just walk in with our eyes closed and get a 52-0 blowout. I think people that say things like that don't understand how hard college athletes work. You guys got a team over there that are working their butts off, that are ready to go. And so do I think that we can win by multiple touchdowns? Yes, of course I do. But I'm no stranger to Appalachian State. Like we've experienced some pain and heartache before. So I'm praying and hoping that the coaches and players are ready. I think they are, but we have tremendous respect for East Carolina.
Yeah, Michael, I want to ask, because for pretty much all of these ECU, athletes and coaches, this is going to be their first time up, to the big house, to an environment like this. What can we expect going up to Ann Arbor, going into the big house for the first time? What is that environment going to be like? What can we expect from everybody in Ann Arbor?
Well, the environment is electric. Artie, have you ever been to the big house, or?
I have not. No, I am making a trip this weekend, so I'll be there this weekend.
All right, man. It's like the Mecca of college football, man. You're gonna love it. I always compare it a little bit to Lambeau Field because it's not, and I've never been to Lambeau, but I'm kind of assuming it's an older stadium. It's got a lot of history. It's not, it's not one of the most newly renovated tech savvy stadiums you're ever going to go to. But when you walk in, you feel the history, 110,000 fans. It's sold out. Every single game, every single year is sold out. And, which is saying something for the biggest stadium in the country. So you're going to enjoy it. Be glad that it's not a night game because we just installed for the first time ever, which is big news for us. The light show. We've got Bowling Green is going to walk in week 3 and not know what hit them. So just be glad you guys are playing during the day.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as cool as that is to see, I don't know as an opponent if I would want to see that in the big house, especially with how highly touted Michigan is right now. I do want to ask, you mentioned the coaches. I mean, everything going on with Harbaugh now. What's kind of like the vibe, I would say, around the media, around the locker room? What are you kind of picking up from how Michigan's feeling about it?
It's very different than the things that you would hear said about Harbaugh 3 years ago. When during that COVID season, it was tough. There was a lot of fire Harbaugh chatter. Harbaugh has won over the Michigan faithful, from the players to the media to the event staff to the boosters. Like, everybody's behind Harbaugh in Ann Arbor, and so we think it's ridiculous. I hope you don't mind me saying we think the NCAA has become a joke. We think that we think that the way that they're investigating and pursuing this particular suspension is completely hypocritical given the bag dropping that's going on around the country, and so to answer your question, Jared, it's supportive. It's hungry. It kind of gave us something in this non-conference. It gave us something to feel like we have a chip on our shoulder about, which I'm not sure is good news for you guys, but it helps. It helps keep them hungry and give us something to play for. And so I do think that the leadership on this team has got these guys focused.
For sure. And talk a little bit about Jesse Minter. I mean, he's going to be the guy at the reins on Saturday, defensive coordinator for Michigan, taking over a head coaching job for September 2nd.
Yeah, so Jesse Minter, he kind of came out of nowhere. If you're not like a real avid, or even if you are a real avid college football follower, you probably didn't know Jesse Minter's name before a couple of years ago. He really got his break with John Harbaugh with the Ravens. He bounced around, went to Vanderbilt. When Mike McDonald last year went back to coach for John Harbaugh with the Ravens, we were looking for a guy to keep the momentum going, not have to generate a whole new system. And that's when Harbaugh went out and got Minter, who was very familiar with the defensive schemes that we're used to. So a lot of people don't know Jesse Minter's dad is actually a defensive analyst on Michigan as well. And so it's all in the family here. We got Harbaugh's appointing his son and his dad, coaching responsibilities. Minter's got his dad around, and he's one of these guys that is young, focused, energetic. He's a player's coach. The guys believe in him. If you look at the Michigan coaching staff 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of older guys, a lot less energy, and that translated onto the field, right? Like we didn't see that energetic pop, that ferocity on the field. And so Minter is one of the handful of coaches that's made a difference.
Gotcha. And Michael, I want to just ask you about the game itself, because obviously, Michigan has the expectations of competing for a national championship this year. But what are some weaknesses, if any, that Michigan has that maybe ECU can try to exploit in this game on Saturday?
Yeah. So if you look at weaknesses, I've got some good news for you guys. Actually, I come bearing gifts. I'm gonna give you the gift of hope, right? And hopefully for my sake, we snatch that gift back from you on Saturday. But here's why I'm giving you a little bit of hope. If you were going to point out two weaknesses on this Michigan team, it would be depth at wide receiver and depth at cornerback safety. We've got a really strong secondary, but not a lot of depth. And what's been trickling out of the end of fall camp here is that we've got injuries in both of those departments. And so it looks like we may be without both of our starting safeties. Makari Page and Rod Moore may not take the field week 1, which of course opens up the possibility of big plays for ECU. And then there's been rumors that we're missing at least 2, maybe 3 wide receivers. And so, do I think that this Michigan team is stacked from top to bottom and can probably be just fine? Like, yeah, probably. But, it makes us, as Michigan followers, it makes us a little nervous to hear, week 0 injuries, right? Well, and these guys haven't even hit the field yet. And so it looks like minor injuries. So that's good for us. But if they're out, a week or so, that gives you guys a little bit of a benefit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much missing 3 wide receivers helps us, even with, because I mean, you still got JJ McCarthy and Blake Corum in that backfield. I mean, those 2 guys are at least I think last I saw, Corum was like plus 5,000 to win the Heisman, and then JJ was, I think, plus 1,100. So, I mean, talk about those guys. Those seem to be, like, outside the offensive line, the strength of this offense. I mean, there's not a weak spot on the offense.
There really isn't. There really isn't. And even you could say the receivers could be, but they're really not. They're just kind of underrated, disrespected receivers. Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson are still very good, very experienced leaders on this team. And then Colston Loveland, the tight end, is a weapon as well. But let's definitely talk about the O-line. That's how you talk dirty to a Michigan fan. You say, let's talk about the O-line to a Michigan fan, and they get excited. We're a little different than other fan bases in that respect. So Zach Zinter and Trevor Keegan, left guard, right guard, it could be the best at their position respectively in the entire country. Transferred Drake Nugent at center, also could be one of those top guys. And I could go down the list. There's about 10 more to list that are all conference caliber players. And so the challenge for a team like ECU is Michigan's the type of team that will line up, show you a run formation, not do anything fancy, do exactly what they lined up to do, run it through the A gap, and still manage to get 12 yards a carry. It's just the kind of team that Michigan has been the last couple of years. And so we've been able to do it against the Ohio States and the Penn States. And so we might get a little fancy and sling the rock around against ECU, but when it's all said and done, Michigan's bread and butter is lining it up, trying to force it down the opponent's throat. And so East Carolina, I would assume, would need to stack the box. And even then, it's going to be tough.
For sure. Artie?
So I do want to ask you this because, obviously, with the expectations around this team, but I think Michigan, competing for a Big Ten Conference championship, that's the norm at this point, right? Maybe even, beating an Ohio State. There's 2 straight times they're expected to beat Ohio State this year. But can this Michigan team get over the hump and beat what's a Georgia or an SEC team in the college football playoff for the national championship? Do you think that this Michigan team has that in them?
100%, man. Here's the thing is I'm not going to say no, right? Like I'm not a member of the traditional media, like a lot of times the traditional media has to be careful about what they say. Like just so you guys can get to know me a little bit. I'm a diehard Michigan fan through and through. Same. So there's no way in hell I'm going to hop on this podcast and be like, be like, 7-5, Alamo Bowl, no, like we're
we'll
going
see you there.
Yeah. We're going 15-0, like we're going to hopefully beat, Georgia or somebody similar in the college football playoff and in the national championship. But if there was a game on our schedule that concerns me a little bit, it's of course it's always Ohio State, but this year it's on the road at Penn State because Happy Valley is such a tough place to play. And so I'm keeping my eye on that one.
For sure. Yeah. What I would give to be like, oh yeah, we can go 15-0. I would give everything for that. And you talk about being a fan first and not a normal person of the media, right? And that's Artie and I. Artie and I are fans first, and that's kind of what we build our podcast off of. So glad to hear that. We need more of that around college football media. We got a bunch of the old man media, like we like to call them, even here in Greenville, North Carolina, where you've got a couple of different media outlets. We don't have the 7. I think there's 17 podcasts covering Michigan, it seems like. Yeah, but I also want to talk about the fan base, everything going into Michigan Stadium. Talk about the history. You talked a little bit about the history of the stadium. Talk about the history and then some of the traditions, some of your favorite traditions at Michigan.
Well, there's nothing quite like the maize and blue winged helmets coming out of the tunnel, the recently named Lloyd Carr Tunnel, which of course is a coach of ours that we love and respect. Nothing like those helmets, coming out, the guys jumping up and hitting the go blue banner with the Hail to the Victors, our fight song playing in the big house. It's just I'm getting chills just talking about it right now. It's one of those things that everybody needs to experience. And There's some newer traditions that are kind of fun. Around the third quarter, the whole stadium sings Mr. Brightside by the Killers, which is, there's some other fan bases that kind of do some similar stuff. So we do that, which is fun. But a tradition that I'm hoping reemerges this season is we've got a long-standing tradition around wide receivers wearing the number 1. It goes back to a guy by the name of Anthony Carter, who is a legendary receiver at Michigan. And then many years later, we had David Terrell, who was a fantastic receiver. And then Braylon Edwards and Derek Alexander. And these guys were all, high draft picks in the NFL wearing the number 1. And it just came out that Roman Wilson, current wide receiver on the team, has transitioned to the number 1. And so for us, It's exciting because it just indicates that this guy might be due for a big season. And I'm one of those superstitious guys where I'm feeling like the number change actually gives him an extra 200 yards on the season. But but who knows? It's one of those traditions that we like to keep track of.
Now, Mike, this is a personal question for me because obviously, I'm super excited to go up this weekend. This is my first time, going to one of the meccas of college football, going to Ann Arbor. Games at noon. It's going to be over by 4:00. What are the spots in Ann Arbor that I got to hit? Bars, restaurants, what have you? Like, what would be the spots in Ann Arbor?
It's a good question, man. You got to hit a place called Frida Batidos, I think is how you say it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that just look up Frida, and it'll pop up in Ann Arbor. But okay. I gotta warn you, man. The line is going to be around the corner.
Gotcha.
So you gotta, plan accordingly. Zingerman's Deli is a popular one. Again, definitely plan ahead and just walk around downtown. I mean, there's Ann Arbor is a food city. Walk around. It's not a big downtown. You can walk there from the stadium, basically. It's a little bit of a hike, but it's all pretty condensed. It's just a college town, so it's beautiful this time of year. So, that would be my one recommendation. If you want to hit maybe a sports bar, you go to Hopcat. Hopcat would be the spot to hit a game in downtown Ann Arbor. But while you're, you want to watch the other college football games. Yeah. So definitely go there and check it out.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah. We always like talking food. At least I do on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's right up our alley.
I probably shouldn't go here because I haven't eaten dinner yet. But I mean, is there something that like Ann Arbor, Michigan, known for? I mean, is there something like you got a Chicago style pizza. I know you got Detroit style pizza too. What's like the one thing that like, I'm in Ann Arbor, I got to get this?
Well, I'll probably have some people yell at me for this because it might not be the traditional answer, but Ann Arbor has a crazy good Asian scene. And so there's you guys will see that too. There's a lot of cool, Asian restaurants, ramen, poke, like different things. It's very authentic, very good. Of course, the Detroit style pizza, it's basically a suburb of Detroit, so you can get some good pizza, but it almost does a disservice to Ann Arbor to try to whittle it down to one category. It really is. It's like a food town. It's a very, very good food spot.
Good to hear that. I've really only got one more question, Michael, and I like to ask this, especially anytime we play non-conference games and ones of the caliber of Michigan. From an outsider's perspective, I mean, we like to believe that ECU is maybe not as well known as Michigan on the national level, but we like to believe that ECU is fairly well known at the Group of 5 level. What is an outsider's perspective of East Carolina University, East Carolina football?
I've been documented this week, and a lot of people have been giving me shit about it, quite honestly, but I've been documented saying that East Carolina is the non-conference team that I'm most concerned about. They make me nervous. I think we've got UNLV and Bowling Green. It's not not a scary non-conference schedule. But of those 3 teams, right when they came out, East Carolina is the team that jumps out to me. Solid coach. You know, you guys got a really good coach, and that's one of the pieces of the recipe to like a big upset. And so I get a little nervous when I see a team like East Carolina, because if we beat them by multiple scores, everybody says like, oh, you're supposed to do that anyway. But if you guys play us close and, God forbid we lose, then of course it becomes, the second coming of App State.
Yeah. Did you know here? This is one thing that I didn't know. Mike Houston coached against App State the week after App State beat Michigan. Did you know that?
I feel like somebody mentioned that to me, like Igo or somebody said something to me. Somebody said something to me about that, but it rings a bell.
Now, let me ask you. I know I said last question. I always do this. Let me ask you. Did you know any history about Mike Houston? I mean, he coached at the Citadel, and this was the coaching staff. Him and the defensive coordinator. I'm not sure if Donnie Kirkpatrick was on staff then. At the Citadel took Alabama to halftime, I believe, 10-10.
I mean, that's just unbelievable. Like I couldn't point to the Citadel on a map. Like if you asked me to point to it, I could be 1,200 miles off. Okay.
Charleston, South Carolina.
I don't know how a team like that goes up against a team like Bama. And Michigan has been known to play close in the first half for whatever reason. I'm hoping that doesn't continue this season, because it just gives you anxiety in that first half. But typically we pull it out in the second half. But that's what I know about Mike Houston. I know that he's a solid coach and he's going to have his guys ready.
For sure. Well, Michael, go ahead and plug where everybody can find you and listen to your podcast, find your content, and best of luck to you going into the season.
Thank you so much, guys. And let me just say, I listened to basically the whole episode last week that y'all did. Great podcast, man. It really comes through when guys, kind of like you were saying, Jared, when guys care about the team, when you guys actually are invested in what's going on. And that really comes through on the podcast. I really enjoyed listening to it, especially when you guys were talking about Michigan. It kind of made me grin a little bit because, I knew we were going to have this conversation. So thank you for having me on. It's my pleasure. You guys can find me if any of your listeners are looking at following Michigan a little bit more closely. Go to wolverinechronicle.com. That's the blog site. On Twitter, or the app formerly known as Twitter, I should call it. You can find me at Wolverine Chron. And then there's also a Wolverine Chronicle YouTube channel. But something that's probably more relevant to your listeners is we've got a pretty cool podcast. It's called the Big House Bleachers Podcast. Me and a buddy of mine, Matt Hartwell, we do it just like you guys do. We get together every weekend, chop it up about Michigan football. It's a lot of fun. And so if for any reason Michigan and East Carolina cross paths again in the future, maybe, a bowl game or something, who knows? We'll have you on the Big House Bleachers pod. We'll have both you guys on and have a good time.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks, Michael. You be safe and enjoy the game. Enjoy the season.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Michael.
Thank you, guys.
All right. That was Michael Smeltzer from the Wolverine Chronicles. Artie, thoughts on talking about Michigan. How you feeling?
Man, I know we got to finish this podcast, but I'm ready. I'm ready for it to already be tomorrow morning. I'm ready to already be on the road. I'm ready to already be up there. Like, I'm just, we mentioned this before. We've been talking about this for years, and for it to finally actually be in fruition, for it to be here, to actually be doing it, one of these lifetime, obviously for me, it's a bucket list thing for me. So, oh man, I'm excited.
As am I. Yeah. And I'm just going to be sitting on my couch. I'm excited. I'm going to put my this is going to be Scarlett's first football season. Scarlett, my daughter. So Savannah,
is she going to have her Pirates or her little onesie on? What does it say again? Saturdays are for the Pirates.
She has a Saturdays are for the Pirates onesie. I don't know if she's going to be wearing that one since Mom's going to be home this Saturday.
Oh, come on! Ooh, we gotta put that
on. She's got another onesie that's got like a cheerleader megaphone that's purple and gold. So I think that's the one that the wife is wanting her to wear on Saturday. My wife is a Carolina alum. She's gonna be wearing purple and gold. I'm gonna be wearing purple and gold. We're gonna be sitting here pulling for the Pirates, and who knows? I mean, I've said it plenty of times, Artie. Why not us?
Well, look, it would take the best football that East Carolina has ever played, plus a little bit of luck and disaster. But there is a chance. There's a chance.
There's always a chance, Artie. All right. Do you have a walk the plank? We can start wrapping up here in a second. We're gonna do walk the plank and then gambling corner.
Oh, and, I feel like I did have a walk the plank, but I forgot. You got to come back to me.
You can use the one I sent you over text earlier today. I was going to use that one as part of it.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, the what is this called again? The battle of the bottles. What was that? What was this called?
Bottle Wars.
Bottle Wars.
This is bullshit.
Apparently, people get together. They're at what I'm assuming they're at a club or some sort of bar or establishment. Basically, you have cities going up against each other. They're buying these really expensive bottles of alcohol and liquor, and essentially they're trying to flex, but they're not drinking the alcohol. They're spending all this money, and they are literally pouring the alcohol out of the bottles onto the floor. Why? We don't know. Why would you waste perfectly good alcohol? Have no idea. Why would you think this is something that you can flex about? It's like, oh, look at me. I can afford to waste a $200 bottle of liquor. Cool. Not a flex whatsoever. Absolutely dumb, stupid. Get rid of this battle of the bottles. I hate it. So yes, walk the plank.
Yeah, mine is well, first off, that seems sacrilegious.
It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
People can do that. I don't know why people would do that. It really is stupid. Mine already. I was watching the Braves game the other night, and it cut away. I guess I'm trying to remember how it all went down. Anyways, it was like the changing of the inning. The Braves were coming on the field to warm up for the next half inning, and all of a sudden, one guy is like hugging Ronald Acuna Jr. And then it seemed like it took forever for
Acuna didn't push this guy off of him or try to punch him in the face with him.
He just kind of held his hands up. I don't think he didn't want to punch the guy. The guy was
technically assault. The guy just came up to him and just started hugging him. I mean, you can defend yourself.
Right. And then another guy comes in and is trying to get to him. And finally, security tackled the guys. Ronald Acuna Jr. ends up getting tackled, falls to the ground. It's just sitting there. Of course, they don't show it on TV because they don't want to give anybody the recognition that they're trying to get for running on the field, right?
Right.
That honestly, Artie, that should be our fantasy football punishment.
No, because that's a criminal charge, bro.
It's only a misdemeanor.
I don't know. Are you fully clothed or are you streaking?
Yeah. I'm. You want to see my fat ass running across the field, butt ass naked? No, I ain't doing that shit.
I mean, look, if it's gonna be a punishment, do it all the way. I'm not doing it regardless. I'm not running on no professional field for nobody. I'm not doing that to get tackled by no big ass 350-pound security.
No.
No,
I mean, I think that I do think that I don't know. I would like to see something done, but what are you gonna do about it? If I was Acuna, I'm probably punching the guy, but
so But it basically sounds like these guys were just trying to show him love. Then at the end, like they were trying to assault him.
Yeah, the second guy was being carried off by 2 security guards, and like it was almost like a let me at him, like type of like trying to jump out of their arms.
But if they were trying to assault him, why didn't they throw any hands, throw punches, kicks? Like if you really trying to assault the guy,
the first guy was trying to like get him in like almost he was too small,
like pin him down or something like that.
Yeah, like he kind of grabbed him, and Ronald was just like, "Yo, like, what are you doing?" And I guess he was trying to like suplex him or whatever.
Jesus.
And then like the security guards and then the second guy got to him all at the same time. They tackled the other guys. Well, apparently there was a third guy that was trying to get there, but security got him quick. He was too slow.
They were trying to jump my man during the middle of the game.
This is the NL MVP.
They were trying to jump my man at a baseball game.
He's arguably, I mean, outside of Shohei Ohtani, which
he's one of the best in the world at what he does. He's a top 5 baseball player right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
jump this man.
I don't know. I don't know what
crazy
was going through like their mind, but yeah, that's my walk the plank. Yeah, I don't know. And then, all right, Artie, let's we can start wrapping it up. We do this every year. It's honestly one of my favorite parts about it being football season.
Oh, I love this. Love when we do this.
Gambling corner.
Yes.
And Artie, come into December, early January, gambling will be legal here in the state of North Carolina. So we'll be able to actually do this for real. We're already talking to some sports books about coming on and joining us as partners on the Boneyard Podcast. These odds and lines these spreads are from Caesar Sportsbook. I'll pull them straight from ESPN. So if you went to the ESPN app, you're going to see it. ESPN, which I mean, just signed a deal with Penn, so they're going to be doing live in-game betting from the ESPN app, I believe, very soon, and that's going to be dangerous.
That's very dangerous. Oh my goodness. How is that going to be regulated? Okay.
But let's go through it. I'm going to jump around I'm not going to go straight through the order that I've got it listed here. I'm just going to kind of go by what I think is in the order of importance to me.
Yeah.
All right. All right. First one, South Alabama at Tulane. Tulane's a 6.5 point favorite, number 24 in the country, over under 52. I mean, a lot of people are talking about these two teams being the number 1 team in their conference. South Alabama being from the Sun Belt. Tulane, of course, the American. Mm-hmm. Now, the Sun Belt, I think it's the Sun Belt East. I mean, I feel like anybody could win the Sun Belt East. I think that's what South Alabama's in. They're supposed to be one of the top teams in the Sun Belt. Anyways, how you feel about this? It's at Tulane. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, South Alabama give them a good first half, and South Alabama they'll probably be good. They'll probably be an 8-win, maybe a 9-win ball club, but they're going to lose to Tulane. And give me the over. You said over under 52.5.
Yeah.
Give me the over on that. There'll be some points scored in this game. Again, South Alabama give them. Actually, I'll say South Alabama give them a solid 3 quarters. But okay. This will be put away early in the fourth quarter.
Cool. I like it. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Tulane covers, and I think the over hits. All right, next we'll go. This is probably one of the most important games of the weekend, but honestly, I might turn it on if it's close, but otherwise I might just not watch it at all.
Yeah.
LSU 2.5 point favorite over Florida State, number 5 at number 8, over under 56. Artie, if you remember this game last year, week 1, I believe that was week 1.
It's the best game of college football last year.
Yeah, I mean, you had it. There were several kickers that night, and we know one of them that had a hard night on week 1. So LSU, I mean, I say all that. LSU lost the game on a blocked extra point attempt with no time left on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Lost 24-23. LSU's the number 5 team. Florida State's the number 8 team. What's that wide receiver out of Florida State? He's
man. I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
Is it Jordan Williams?
It might be. I really don't know the kid's name, but I know you're talking about, but I don't know the kid's name.
I think it's Jordan. I think it's Jordan something. I don't know. That kid is going to be. He's what nightmares are made out of.
Yeah,
dude's like 6'7", and athletic. I mean, he's built like a tight end, but he plays wide receiver. A lot like a Kyle Pitts, right? And honestly, bigger than Kyle Pitts. How do you feel about this one? I lean more towards LSU. I'm not 100% bought in on Florida State this year, but
I'm gonna be honest with you. I am actually the opposite because and this game already has playoff implications. Obviously, week 1, both of these teams have massive, implications and title hopes. I'm bullish on Florida State, though. I think Mike Norvell has a solid program down there in Tallahassee. I really think Florida State could win an ACC championship this year. Like they could knock off Clemson, Carolina, your NC States, whoever else is in the mix. I think Florida State can win it all this year as far as the ACC. I don't think they're going to have to win a natty, but I think they're going to have to win an ACC championship game, or at the very least, play in an ACC championship game. So I'm bullish on Florida State. This is going to be now. Obviously, LSU winning is kind of the norm. They're number 5 in the country. They got Daniels as their quarterback. They're going to be phenomenal too. But give me Florida State again. I think FSU wins this one.
All right. All right. Next, we'll go down to Charlotte. UNC versus South Carolina in Charlotte. Dukes Mayo Classic. Drake May, Spencer Rattler. Drake May is seen probably as one of the top quarterbacks in the country going into the season. I'm never fully sold on Carolina, just
right
because I've seen it plenty of times where there's them and NC State, which live look in NC State is leading UConn 10-7 during halftime.
UConn's going to be good this year. All right, UConn's going to a bowl game. UConn's winning 6 games.
I can see UConn winning this NC State game that's going on right now.
UConn's winning 6 games.
That's why I'm going to turn it on while I'm editing this thing. But
Jim Moore's got it. He telling you, watch out for UConn.
Anyways, UNC South Carolina over under 64.5. Carolina is a 2.5 point favorite. Hey, I'm running with the Gamecocks here. I think the Gamecocks win.
I think both these schools are improved. I think South Carolina is going to be a player in their division in the SEC. But I'll say this. If Carolina's defense can just be somewhat competent, cannot give up 40 to 50 points a game, even if they just give up 30 a game, their offense is going to be so phenomenally good, a top 5 offense in the country. Carolina can make a lot of people nervous. That's all I'll say. Their offense is going to be there. Take the over. I don't know what the over is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if the over-under was 75. Take the over. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. If their defense can show up, Carolina will win this game.
Over-under 64.5. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards taking the over. But, yeah, I'm taking South Carolina all the way. We need to keep track of this year. For one, we say it every year. We need to keep track of our picks.
I'm down. Yeah, let's start with it tonight. Let's go ahead and we can make a little, Expedia spreadsheet, whatever it is, whatever we gotta do. Keep track of these picks.
All right, Artie, you write them down because
okay.
I got too much to do after this.
That I can do.
All right. Next, UTSA at Houston. This was another good game week 1 last year.
Yeah.
And Houston leaving the American, going to the Big 12. UTSA on the road at Houston. Artie, let's talk real quick about these Houston jerseys. Your thoughts?
We were talking to Brandon earlier about it in our group chat. It does seem a little copycat from the throwback unis that ECU has, and maybe it is. Maybe they are biting style, and that's just kudos to how good we are, what we do. But I think the jerseys are fire. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're great. I think they look phenomenal.
Let me ask you this. Talking about ECU jerseys, they haven't announced them yet. Typically it happens Thursday night, Friday morning. This year, earlier in the calendar year, ECU unveiled the powder purples for baseball. What would you do if they unveiled powder purples for football? Your thoughts?
That'd be fuego. That'd be fuego. Now, are we going with an all purple look? It's just straight, like straight Power Ranger look.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can change. I think if you're doing powder purple everything, I don't think you can do like a white, unless you do like a black helmet. I don't think you can do like a white helmet.
I think that's interesting. I mean, I would have to see that on paper, but I think that's interesting.
Somebody make that. Somebody make a powder purple ECU football. We'll need to get Will on. I'll talk to Will.
Somebody on Twitter earlier said the black helmets with the white ensemble, like recreate the BYU look, and I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I like the white on white with. I like the black helmets, but something about the white on white with the purple helmets just seems clean to me.
That's clean too. And I'll take the white on white with the purple. But I like the white on white with the black. Man, I don't know, that black helmet is fire.
Or the purple white purple. I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong at all. Lots of good looks. Look, I thought the Houston jerseys, I thought they were a direct pull off of those SMU Dallas jerseys. They look just alike. I get what they're doing.
Identical.
I get what they're doing. They're throwing it back to the Houston Oilers. I get it. Nobody cares. UTSA trumps Houston in Houston and take the over.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know if they trump them, but I don't know what to expect from Dana Holgerson's Houston team this year. And I think San Antonio is going to be competing for a conference championship in the American. So give me UTSA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Houston right now, but I mean, they seem to have a down year last year. And I mean, it took them a triple overtime to beat UTSA last year. And I don't know. I'm riding with who's with us now. Right. And I don't know. I like UTSA. I'm pulling for UTSA in this game. So yeah, I'm taking UTSA. All right, Artie. It's time. It's time.
Not quite Bruce Buffer.
No. I got a baby sleeping upstairs. I gotta keep it down. ECU, East Carolina University, travels on the road to a town called Ann Arbor, Michigan, home of the Michigan Wolverines. The spread is disrespectful to me. 36 points. Look, my wife, who knows nothing about gambling, I was explaining this to her. I've been so excited this week. I've been like a kid on Christmas morning all week, Artie, looking forward to this game. Look, I know what to expect. But there's always that itsy bitsy thought in the back of your head when you play a game like this, that what if my school is the one that shocks the world? What if they at least make it a game so that they're doing live look-ins because Michigan is on the ropes, a la Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson, David and Goliath, the Miracle on Ice. Everyone loves an underdog, Artie. Everyone. Except for Vegas. For whatever reason, Vegas does not like this underdog.
Vegas is using logic.
Artie, logic doesn't win football games. Heart does. Grit does.
And skill.
Which we said earlier, that we think that this team is the most talented team under Mike Houston, and if not, in the last probably 10 years, maybe more. Talent-wise, at least. Maybe they don't have the experience. But I also look at that. I look at that, Artie, and I say, you know what? Can you go into a game with a bunch of inexperienced guys or guys that haven't been there before and just let them go out there and play ball? Let them play up to it.
That's the only thing you can do.
Why not?
Go out there and ball. That's the only thing you can do with inexperienced guys.
Look, Artie, while I am a huge East Carolina Pirate, love my Pirates, Artie, I know what I'm to expect on Saturday. But there's not going to be an ounce of me that goes to bed tomorrow night and wakes up on Saturday morning and says, you know what? There's no reason to play this game. And I guarantee there's 85 plus guys in that locker room that are saying the same thing. We're going to wake up. We got to play a game. We got to play a game. Because if you were just to say, okay, this is a win or this is an L based on this being the number 2 team in the country, what's the reason of even having a season? What's the reason of waiting over 7 months, I guess 9 months at this point? What's the reason for waiting that long, Artie? That long to play football? And every single I've had a countdown on my phone for the last 9 months until this day. And I guarantee there's other Pirates that have had the same countdown on their phone. We got to play a game. We got to play a game. Artie, 36-point dogs.
Enjoy the spotlight. Enjoy the moment, right? Because this is obviously the biggest stage of your college football career. I think that's most important. They're not going to go to a bigger stage in their career. Enjoy this moment. Relish in this moment. And then also understand, I think the most important mentality that these guys got to have is that these Michigan players and coaches, they eat, shit, and piss the same way I do. Same way. They're not superheroes. They're not gods. They're not, they can't jump buildings with a single leap. They got to line up and play us too. It's 11 on 11. They got to go out there. They actually have to work hard if they want to beat us too, right? So I think that's the most important mindset. You got to go into it. Fresh slate. We're clean. We're ready to play. And why not us? That's the mindset. It's 11 on 11. They're not superheroes. Yeah, we know what they are. Yeah, we understand the stage. They got to play us too.
Yeah, and I mean, Artie, we talked about it. We talked about it with Michael. I mean, he talked about the potential weakness being one of the potential weaknesses being lack of depth at the wide receiver position. Look, we all know one of the question marks going into this season, secondary for ECU, right? Like, look, I've had plenty of talks with Coach Harrell now where he's convinced me that our secondary is better than it was last year, and I hope so. But you return a lot of guys on your front seven on defense that you got to remember last year, Artie, top 20 rush defense in the country. But you're also going against a top 5 offensive line. But Artie, last year, you may say, oh, well, you got to go against that top 5 offensive line. You look at week 1 last year, you go against the top 15 offensive line in NC State. And if it weren't for Luke Larson and Owen Daffer, you win that football game. Pirates by 90. No, okay. For real, Artie, here's what I'll say. Last thing, and I'll be done. ECU covers. I would put my paycheck that I got today. ECU covers.
Give me a score. Give me a final score.
What's the over-under? The over-under is 51.5. Michigan 35. ECU 21.
Okay. I'm gonna say Michigan 38, ECU 17.
Respectable.
38-17.
If you asked me, hey, you go into the big house and you lost by 3 touchdowns to the number 2 team in the country,
we competed.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we went up there. If we could drop 17 up there and keep them under 40, I'm good. We competed.
Yeah. I got a lot to look forward to the rest of the year. But if Artie, ECU finds a way, I might just call out work next week. I might just die on Saturday, and I would be happy. Savannah asked me, she said, what would you rather have, the Braves World Series championship or beating Michigan? I said, beating Michigan hands down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going up there as a pure fan of both. And if I was witness to an ECU upset in the big house, I mean, I don't know if there's any sporting event that I can go to for the rest of my life that would top that. I really don't. I can't think of one. So,
all right. Well, Artie, it's been fun. Good first live show. Those of you that are sticking with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. All right. Artie, let's get out of here. I'm going to go eat.
Let's do it.
Next time we talk, we'll be talking about an ECU game recap sometime next week. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Well, let's get out.
As always, Pirate Nation, we love you. Have a happy, great opening college football weekend. Wash your hands, wash your butts. Deuce.